Good morning everybody, how are we doing? This is Alex Spence, Renunciate Monk. Welcome to my page, Self-Realised. Come, give me a hug. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, hello and sort of welcome. I just thought I'd let you know I've just been shouted at by a very angry farmer for being on his land. If you see a tractor in the background, that's his tractor that he's driving right now. He wasn't very happy that I hadn't asked permission to be on his land. So I think he's settled down, he's calmed down, and I think hopefully he's grounding himself as we speak. But I think it's like a perfect example how something like that, you know, he was swearing at me, he's getting really agitated. But I think if you just sort of like if you maintain like a calm demeanour and just, you know, just so it can almost settle people down in front of you and stuff, and that's what sort of happened. He did so, and he was fine. When I explained what was going on, all I do is I was basically just saying I'm just going to sit under a tree and film some stuff. So it's all good, mate. So today I wanted to talk about like inner strength. Sunday, yeah, it's like Sunday Inner Strength Day. Sort of moving on from like what I said about in my video the other day about sort of kinesiology and about how that can impact our muscles and it can make us weak just from the way we think. And I think it all comes down to that reaction to, say, someone shouting at you. How that could set us up for a fall in hours to come. We could repeat that story in our head, which could keep us in a sort of weakened, our muscles in a weak state, and everything to be sort of out of a line. I think one thing I found about inner strength and sort of having that like raw inner strength from like making shifts with how you think has been really vital for me. And it all comes down to essentially love. And I think this is really hard when you are, say, at your weakest, and we've spoke about this before, how you can feel at your absolute weakest, and I know I've felt this before, when you think I just can't go forward anymore. Almost like, what's the point of all of this? And I think it's from them moments that when you make the decision of what you associate more with, because once you make that sort of transition to being loving all the time, that's what sort of creates your inner strength. And because like the kinesiology response is just one 10,000th of a second, and this can happen repeatedly throughout the day. Let's say, for example, like what just happened with me, just one situation can happen that can trigger all this, that can trigger a chain reaction of negative responses, just from what thought processes are going to occur because of it. I could sort of let that bother me, or I could just completely forgive it, allow it, and just go back and turn it round into the fact of like I still love and respect the farmer. It's his land. Or I could go out the day punishing myself, thinking, oh God, he shouldn't have spoke to me like this, or you know. And it's just like one situation. And I think the inner strength is needed most when you're at your weakest. And I think that's always the contradiction. So I think it's even more important that sort of when you are in those weak states, that the awareness is even more like and pronounced and sort of like illuminated. Because I know from my experience, I completely sort of empathise when it comes to being at the sort of feeling at the bottom, and finishing a day feeling, oh, I just had so many people take so much energy from me, and I just feel like and because I've had so much energy taken from me, my thought processes have almost been de-energising me as well, and putting me into an even more weakened state. So that's why I'm always talking about that relationship with you and waking up. This whole waking up procedure is all whether people are waking up or not, whether it's just people having conflict and say depression and anxiety, it all stems down to our relationships with us. It's never the farmer annoying me. It's always my reaction to that. And I think the less reactive we do come, and the more loving we become to ourselves, even through the tough times. And I think that's what it's all about, is harnessing. It's okay being loving when the flowers are blooming, we're coming into summer. But it's when the seasons change, we come into winter, and you have more that could potentially react with you. And I'm saying all of this really not to sort of like to convince you or anything, but just to sort of say to you, you've got so much inner strength within you that it can sort of blow your mind, really. I think sometimes the more you come into alignment with you, shall we say, and the more you are active internally about sort of being really loving. In the moments of crisis, you have them moments of sort of like divine timing that just really sort of like propel you forward and really help you out of the rut. But I think when you get caught in sort of a negative cycle and you sort of like neglect yourself, I think that's what spirals into more self-sabotage and more. You don't have that assistance and guidance, because it's almost like you've got to learn more to get out of that. You almost have less assistance. The less work you do and the less loving you are. That's almost like that's just how it's happened for me. I remember when I was really not loving, and just I didn't have I seemed to not. I was almost like I was blaming everyone else. I just didn't have any help because the universe didn't have my back then, But everything comes down to love, and it's just that is like the source of that's the source of everything. Like it's like the one universal law that you can sort of like you can truly rely on. And the more you come in line with that, the sort of more help you get to move forward. Hope this all makes sense. But if I'm going to end this video now, I'm just going to say, if you keep aligning yourself with love for yourself, and just especially through the tough times, and you don't let the tough times spiral out of control with any sorts of fear and self-loathing, you will always have something that will pop up to push you forward. And that's when you really realise, just how cool. But I wanted this to be I wanted this to be upbeat, I wanted this to be uplifting, I just want you to realise that you have so much within you. The more you are you, the better it is. That's the whole thing as well. the more you hide away from the world, the less productive it is. And the more you give out and the more you express of who you really are, that's almost like that's what the universe wants, you know. It wants you to be the fulfillment of you. And you don't want to be that strong person. And you've got it, man. You've got this. The tree's falling apart. I think this is an oak tree. The wind's just picked up. So I'm going to leave this now by saying thank you so much for everyone that's sort of watching my page and stuff. Thank you. Whatever time of day it is, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Much love to you. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'm going to leave this now by saying Sunday strength, man. You got this. Okay, and peace out. God bless, and I'll see you all tomorrow. And goodbye.